Hey friends, so this is going to be a little bit different type of video. I put a post on Facebook the other day, just kind of a little bit trying to process out loud, not looking for replies, but trying to process a little bit of grief, kind of some live outwardly grief processing, I guess, and got quite a few comments on it. And so I promised a friend from high school that I graduated with that I would do a video response, and then I realized actually this would probably be a great opportunity for the channel too, is just as far as a longer video response to what's really going on. And I kind of dread these type of videos, to be honest with you, like, to be as real as possible. I dread them because so oftentimes over the years, I've just found that it's a little bit easier to let people believe that they're hearing God in their life versus trying to convince them that they're not. So right off the jump, I just want to let you all know this is not a rebuke video. If it comes off in a way that you feel rebuked, I apologize right up front. This is more of a response about what's really going on in reality, and then also me processing a little bit of my own grief too, just getting out the reality of truth with people that can speak English back and understand it. You know, the gist of my post the other day was just, friends, I wish you could see the realities and the truth of the chaos and the devastation that happens in an actual fuel crisis in other places. And so my friend was like, hey, can you share with us what the real news is on your side of the world type thing. And so about 2.5 kilometers in that direction is a little town. All right, we're in kind of remote rural Africa. However, there is a main road that goes about 250 miles north to south, with villages sprinkled along the way like the one we're in. And about 2.5 kilometers that way, there's a border town, and there's one gas station for the most part. People would say there's 3, but really there's 2 that kind of in and out work and have some things going on under the table, and just it's not as legit. There's one real gas station. There is one bank as well for the whole border town. And in 50 miles in either direction, you can't find an ATM machine. It's just the one bank for a border town. So just to start, that's kind of the context that I'm coming from. And then also within that 2.5 kilometers, you have thousands and thousands of people that can't read and write, that go into town for supplies. But in the town are people that have semi-government jobs or businesses that, are operating at a higher status level than even the ones that are behind the camera right now getting water from the water well. Literally, as I'm speaking right now, there's a mom that just walked up. You might have seen her in this camera, that has 3 little kids at the water pump, bare feet, all under 8 years old, it would appear. And they probably live on, $1 or $2 a day as far as what they eat, things like that. They probably walk for miles to farm and to do their farming and hope for good rain so they can have corn, which makes up the essential of their meal. They sell some of that corn, and then they can have, beans and some bit of meat or chicken throughout the year with it, or greens. And all of those things right there that I just mentioned, when it comes harvest season, like right now, takes gas. It takes gasoline in motorcycles or they have to pay for taxis to go in and out of those places. The other day, I spent the better part of an hour, which was very little time compared to what's going on the last 2 or 3 weeks, to get diesel in my truck. The owner of the gas station and I are friends, pretty good friends, and we've traveled together. If it wasn't for his family, we wouldn't have some of the comforts we've had the last decade. And he's rescued us a lot of times. And he basically told me, hey, I have diesel, that's not an issue, but gas is an issue. And so I watched him for a few days from sun up to sundown, having to stand around the gas pump with thousands of people. And why he goes out there is because the people will mob the gas attendant as they're trying to fill and go by the rules that the gas owner has put in place. And these people are coming from the other country of Malawi and other places so that they can sell the gas on the street for twice the price because there's so little and demand is so high. And so he's having to go out there and spend, every 10 or 15 minutes has to go back out there for 10 or 20 minutes and stand there so that the pressure of them coming in on the attendant doesn't force them to just fill up people's stuff whether they're paying or not, out of fear. And then he shifted a couple of days ago to he's only giving gas from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the afternoon and telling people that they just have to live with it because he can't work 15 hours a day just standing on his feet not eating and doesn't really, having to siphon out a liter at a time type thing. And then also the prices, right? So the prices of this devastation is that I know in America, I think the prices are getting $4 or $5 a gallon, which if you guys are going through that, that's a bummer. I'm sorry. That sucks. I know what it's like to live in America with $5 gas prices. It's not fun. But if you were to actually calculate the liters with what we do, it's $14 a gallon here. So what does that mean, Ian? Well, the other day, I have an extra tank of diesel that I put and some other things for our truck. I went and filled up our main vehicle yesterday for the first time in 2 weeks. I've been avoiding the gas station, which I'm there every day usually, because simply out of respect for the people that are having to wait in line for gas. Because my friend, if I come for diesel, which he's told me multiple days, we got diesel, don't worry about it. But in my head, I'm like, yeah, but when I pull up, I'm gonna have to wait in line 3 hours to get there. But he doesn't want that because I'm getting diesel, I'm not getting gas. So as a customer, I should just be able to go. So that means he has to move the hundreds of motorcycles along with the other vehicles, and I have to reverse in, and then he has to cater to the white guy, right? Who's, though I'm a neighbor and been here many, many years, they don't all see me that way. In a situation as chaotic as this, can come off super disrespectful to the community and entitled amidst a bunch of, gas workers that are already afraid. So I put it off, and I told him, hey, I'm coming. And yesterday he cleared the space for me, let me go, and I took another tank with me and had that filled so I had extra in the other truck. And man, it was like I felt so bad for them. And then at the same time, I was like, man, if this gets worse and diesel gets worse, this is going to be us here pretty soon, which in the country of Malawi, we've had to juggle going over there because of that. Like when we can go and when we can't to get braces done and things like that because of the fuel crisis. There was already a fuel crisis going on in Malawi before the shenanigans and incredible ridiculousness that's going on in the Middle East right now. All for the sake of what? And so we can all have our political thoughts and our agendas and all that kind of stuff, but for me it was like, well, when does humanity kick in? All right, so it's not just the gas here. Let me tell you what that does for everyone. All of the motorcycle taxis and things here that have opened up the villages and given them more humanity, more access to food and water and those things, are now being, where those motorcycles are walking back running out of gas. The food that needs to get into town to be sold so the families can eat, stopping, right? The tractors that harvest aren't able to get what they need. But then I'm driving my wife, who's in the capital city right now, opening up, going to get to speak, and God's opened up a door for us to actually kind of have influence nationally now with what she's doing with this, which blows my mind that God has us doing this. I'm driving her halfway to the main town of Lashinga. Her friend's going to take her to the airport. And I begin to recognize lines in the bigger villages like ours. And they're all women, and they're all full of totes with what we call the farinha, which is the flour that they make the corn with. And the lines are going to the street. And I begin to realize these women are having to wait there because the generators that have become technology that has helped these women not have to hand grind this stuff from centuries ago are running on gas. And so if the gas runs out of the machine, the owner of the generator is going to have to go 30 miles, 20 miles to whatever, or to get black market gasoline, which could take hours and hours and hours. And so the women have come in the morning and lined up with their bowls of corn to grind for meals because they're afraid that the generator will run out of gas, which inevitably it will. I began to realize, man, this is the waves of devastation that's happening is unbelievable. Look at these little kids. You'll be able to see them in the camera here in a second. You can see them right there. See them? She's 5. The one behind her is probably 6. That one's 8. They're all getting water here at the well, carrying on their head. Their mom is discipling them on how to do it. You can see the different size buckets. All right? That same process, if you can multiply that in your head of gasoline and what it does, right? My wife has described it in the sense of the healthcare field of transporting people to hospitals and things like that. People aren't able to get from the villages to the hospitals the way they need. The generators at the hospitals run on gas, so when they need to do surgeries and things like that. So I just wanted to come on and respond to her live in a real way, because that's why I had posted it. It wasn't for replies. It was like to get out the grief, because we're stuck here going, man, what happens if that completely goes? And what if diesel does the same thing? And you know, I know God's got amazing things in store. Sometimes I think of this building and I go, man, I can't believe, sometimes I can't even understand what he's allowed us to accomplish. If you'd have told me I'd have been building that thing and helped construct it and all that, is like, that's not my world. But there it is. And if Carla was going to be opening up ways nationally to be able to reach out in this system of palliative care, and it was all going to be in a remote village with this incredible facility here that she's able to bridge the gap, like, man. But how do things stay sustainable financially? We can train people, we can give them everything they need ability wise to walk in that freedom. But when resource income goes down because, you know, gasoline prices are going up, the food is going to go up now because all the food that has to be transported outside of the corn stuff is all. People are paying, you know, $20 for a box of cereal. Like, people think because we live in Africa that, oh man, they're not going to need a lot of support because things probably are cheap. No, I have never had to pay more for groceries in my life than the 10 years I spent here, because of situations like this with gas. Because of war and things, they haven't learned to export things. The resources of exporting things, they haven't done that. And so I only share this just to kind of bring perspective to those of you who are our friends, or those that are listening that maybe are hearing God and feeling this urgency to speak up, to speak against the things that you're seeing that don't fit a pattern of humanity, but fit a pattern of business or luxury or whatever. And you want to have a voice or say something. I'm just letting you know, the reality is the majority of people on the planet are experiencing what I'm experiencing right now, not where I came from. And sometimes it's important to just recognize that, to look outwardly and see how you can help with it, see how you can serve, share, whatever. Because I believe God is speaking to us on these things. I think he is speaking to a lot of you out there. And maybe you don't know what to do, but if you'll ask him, what do you want me to know about it? What do you want me to do? I think he'll show you. He'll show you what to do. He'll show you what to say. He'll show you what to stand on. He'll show you what to reject and what to receive. You know, a lot of this happens. I follow a guy named Jamie Winship, who has really impacted my family's life. Again, not so much because of the things that he does that I wasn't doing, but more the language that he's given me to be able to express the things that God has shown us over the years as a family. And the reality of what the gospel really looks like. And the truth is that in our worldviews, we can either be separated right? Sinful. Sin means to miss the mark, to be separated. Or we can be connected. And in the kingdom of God, we're supposed to be connected, which means that if everything's connected that ever has been connected, because all things are made through him and by him and for him, Christ, then scarcity shouldn't exist, right? Scarcity happens, Jamie would say, when humans get involved and we make things scarce. But in nature and everything else, it's always abundance. It's always, there's nothing ever lacking in what God's created. We cause that. And so those are part of the sobering thoughts I had this week as I sat in the gas station, and just, even though I'm in a completely different world, within that world, I'm still more secure than the world I'm living in. And that was a sobering thought. And so, friends, when you look at the things that are going on around you and you don't have answers, but you're like, I know this is probably worse than it is, look into it further. Let your brain go there. Let your thoughts go there, and let God take you to the place of, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Ask God what he wants you to mourn for. What he wants you to mourn for. Right? Is it just that the gas prices are going up because of the crisis? Or is there more to it than that? Is it that the millions of mothers that have 3 or 4 kids in the village that need the gas price to be down so that cooking oil can make it to their village, and so that gasoline can make it to the generator, so that the corn that they harvested because of the gasoline that was in the motorcycles that brought the bags of corn can be ground, so that they can eat the exact same meal every single day, twice a day, so that they don't starve to death. Could it be that it's not just gas prices going up? It's actually humanity being destroyed because of our boundaries that we're setting. These are our boundaries, even though they're not our boundaries. These are our areas. These are our fears. They're going to do this to me. Could it be that we're running on fear of something that hasn't even happened yet? That we actually have faith in fear versus faith in abundance. Anyway, Saturday Night Live used to have Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy. These are Deep Thoughts with Ian Gennari. And thanks for listening. Love y'all. Keep walking in faith and going in courage.
Way to Jerusalem.